Okay, so it's Friday, and David is supposed to start college and move into his dorm for his freshman year next Thursday. He's been registered for a couple of months, was accepted back probably 4, 5, 6 months ago. And this has been on his plan and our plan with our caseworker at our state vision and blind agency for over 2 years. We've had the advice to that and the counsel that David would be able to go to any state school in our state employment or state university system, and that his tuition, room and board would all be taken care of because he is blind and is entitled to an education and free education within the state's education system. So we were told this morning, now 6 days before he's supposed to go off to campus and move in, he's already selected his campus, his room, his dorm, his roommates, his schedule, class schedule. We were told this morning that he no longer qualifies for our room and board, and that because of budget cuts that occurred supposedly back in July, that the state's no longer going to pay for room and board, and that he would have to go to another school that may be farther away. But that actually makes no sense to me, because for a blind person, what does it matter where how far away someone is? Certainly he can't drive or walk or ride a bike, no matter how far he is from campus. So we were told and advised throughout the process in the last 2 years that the campus that's near to our home, it's probably 30 minutes away, would provide him with a lot of resources, because they have a new disability program office there that David has met, and he's integrated with those people there over the last year and a half. He's been on many field trips and orientation programs there, and now we're all ready to go. He's ordered his sheets and pillowcases and everything, and he's ready to go. And they tell us now, 6 days before he's supposed to go to campus, that he can't go there, or that we're supposed to pay, or have that they're no longer going to do what they've committed to do over the last 2 years, and that this has something to do with budget cuts or whatever. That's absolutely ridiculous. So anyway, this morning I have called the supervisor for the blind agency and left a message for them, and I've also contacted our state delegate to have their assistance, and we're already fighting because of our last episode that they don't want to pay for a braille note taker for David, even though he's had one for the last 12 years. 8 years, 10 years in school. David is a braille reader. He reads 320 words a minute in braille, and now they want him to listen to a computer or some audible voice as if he doesn't know braille at all, and because they don't want to pay for a braille note taker, even though they've had one in the system, and he's had one assigned to him through the school system since 6th grade. So this is an ongoing battle. All we're trying to do is advocate for David. He's entitled to a free education in the state of Virginia at our state college. We pay taxes in our region, which are some of the highest taxes in the country. We pay high property taxes. We pay high income taxes. And for that, David is entitled apparently by the Constitution of Virginia to a free education because he's disabled and completely blind. So we didn't expect that we would have to be doing this and fighting this, not only fighting for a braille device, which run $4,000 to $6,000, but also for room and board for him for college, which they told us all along that he's supposed to be able to enjoy a college life and an educational experience that's equivalent to other people who have a college life, and that means going away to campus and living in a dorm and living independently. This is the whole point of the division of for the blind and visually impaired people. So this is at this point it's a major failure of our government and of our state government. I expect that they will turn this around and that they'll make this right and make it up to David. He's already made his request known for his braille device, which to expect him to have to go down to have to listen to audio or audio tapes or have to print out through an embosser the kind of braille materials that he's going to need is just too much for a young college freshman to have to deal with. Or to hire someone to read his books to him. This is the kind of stuff that we're having to go through right now. So anyway, just thought we'd let you know and see how this thing is going. We didn't expect this. Everything is not always peachy. We have to fight and fight and fight and fight for our kids and for what they're entitled to. And so we're going to do that with David. And hopefully we'll have good news next time. Talk to you later. If you want to keep up with the story, subscribe below. Give us a like if you've had issues with the state on resources for your blindness or for your child's blindness or education. Put it in the comments below. And we wish you all the best. Talk to you later. Bye. Okay, so it's Saturday, and I wanted to post an update to our video yesterday, which was Friday. If you recall, we had been told that David was not going to be able to move in to campus 6 days from now 5 days from now, because the state was no longer going to cover his room and board. Which we've been planning on at the college that we've been planning for the last 2 years. And so in the video yesterday, I mentioned that I had made a couple of telephone calls, one up the chain at the agency, and the other to our state delegate. Well, I got a message back a couple hours later from our state delegate's office, who said that they spoke to the agency and that it was ridiculous that anyone would make these kind of changes 6 days before going off to school. So we did get a call back from the agency saying that David can move in and that his room and board are taken care of. And at least for this year, and they said we'd have to readjust or reevaluate for his sophomore year. So at least at this point, we have confirmation that David will be able to move in to the dorm on Thursday, and that his accommodation, which he's entitled to, will be taken care of by the state. Now, that still leaves us with the other issue of the braille device. So we've been discussing with the agency David's need for a braille note taker, which is essentially a computer that has both a braille keyboard and a refreshable braille display, but it's self-contained. So in that, it can run, Word and Excel and PowerPoint and audio and all the kinds of things that a student needs, who primarily is a braille user. So David is a braille user, and the technology and he had been promised a braille note taker for his time at college. He's had one now my understanding is since elementary school. So they've had one in his possession and had a quote loaner that he's been using for the last all these years of primary education, and now they've taken it away. And essentially, if you check episode 2 of the Blind and College Bound series, you'll see in our visit to the technology group that they didn't want to provide a braille note taker for David in the future, and that he should rely on audio or audio books or people reading to him, volunteers, or printing out embossed paper, which is just not. For David is a braille reader and a writer. They've taught him that over the last 12 years of education. So now that he's been taught braille and he is very, very proficient in braille, he can read at over 300 words a minute. Even if you get in chipmunk mode on audio, you can't listen faster than 150 words a minute. And he, for the last 12 years, hasn't been trained to take audio as its primary method. The other thing is that he uses and does a lot of math and science. And in those subjects, you need to have access to what's called Nemeth code, which is a braille subset that is used for the analytical sciences. And there's no accommodation to that in audio. And so our dilemma has been not just to fight and advocate at this point for making sure he can go to college and move in next week as planned, but we're in this situation now where they have basically told him that he can get a braille display, which is another piece of equipment essentially that plugs into a computer that can do the display of braille. But yet again, when he goes to class, he would have to take a computer, his phone, his cane, his backpack, and this refreshable display, and pile it all up on a desk or a podium in order to give a speech. It's kind of it's not efficient at all, and he really needs the braille note taker as he's been relying on it for the last 12 years. So we're still working on that, and we're expecting our state to provide a braille note taker. At this point, it looks futile that they'll be able to provide one, and if they did, it'd probably be one that's past its prime. We do know of other students in the school system that have gotten braille note takers. In episode 2, it's mentioned that because David is so smart, he should get less accommodation. And obviously that is not true. We do know people that are smarter than David. He probably doesn't want to hear that. But there are people smarter than David. And those people also have braille note takers as they're blind and they're entitled to them. So we feel that David should have a note taker. But in the meantime, we have, and because college starts next week, David has started a GoFundMe page so that he can buy his own braille note taker. And we'll have a link to the GoFundMe campaign below. But this is the first opportunity for David to actually, he's put together a business plan, which is the GoFundMe essay, if you will. And I hope you'll read that. Dave is very smart, and he put together all this and basically did research and found out which note taker he wants. And he basically said too that because it's Android and he can download, you have access to all of the Google apps, and the braille note taker that he's purchasing or wants to purchase with his own money through the GoFundMe is the Braille Sense Polaris, I believe it is, which is the latest, greatest Braille note taker, the highest, newest technology, and hopefully because of the Android operating system, he can download apps and have complete accessibility to things that anyone else would have to be able to access things like Word and Google Docs and sharing and meeting sharing and collaboration and all the things that that college students use today to collaborate and do things in class. So his GoFundMe is below. Please send a little money his way. Every little bit helps. And, it'll be well appreciated. Should get him all the way through college. And our goal is, and our plan, hopefully, is if he graduates from college and gets a really great paying job, that he can pay it forward and help some other folks with, getting Braille devices, in the future after he's in the workforce. So that would be a way for him to pay it back, pay it forward, if you will. So if you can contribute, that would be awesome and great, and David would appreciate that a lot. And but anyway, I wanted to give you an update. It's not the end of the world, I guess, for David going to college. He is getting his tuition and paid for free through our college university system, which is why we pay our taxes. And now his room and board will be covered, at least for this year, for his attending of our local state university. So thank you very much for listening. And if you haven't subscribed to us, you can keep track of David and his college-bound experiences in first year as a completely blind student going off to live on campus by himself. Should be interesting. He's going to study technology and business subjects, maybe go into cyber forensics or forensic accounting, or who knows what, maybe even pre-law. We'll see how things go. But in the meantime, he needs to access materials, and that's what the Braille Note or the Braille Note-Taker device is for. So all the best. We appreciate you guys, appreciate your subscribing and your likes, and let us know in the comments below anything else you'd like to see. So thanks a lot, and all the best. Bye.